What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the Call Center Geek himself, Tom Laird.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center contact center podcast. We try to give you some actionable items, take back in your contact center, improve the overall quality, improve your agent experience, hopefully improve the customer experience as well. How's everybody doing? My name is Tom Laird. I am the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing. Expivia is a 500-seat plus call center outsourcer located here in northwestern Pennsylvania. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's kind of getting into the spring swing of things. It's definitely getting warmer. It's getting kind of back into the groove, getting outside a little bit. Masks are all going off a little bit, which is kind of nice. We are in kind of full board planning for bringing a lot of our agents and everybody back in house. Speaking of that, I will be speaking at the NICE inContact Interactions Live event that will be happening next week on the May 25th and 26th. It's free, right? So you just kind of log in and there's no cost to it. There's a ton of really cool speakers. So I will be speaking the last day on the 26th. And my topic will be on our plan for bringing everybody back in-house. And I'll tell you what, that's really evolved even over the last week. So I'm trying to keep that thing up to date as new information comes out, every single day on masks, no masks, vaccinated, don't need to be vaccinated, all that stuff. So it's been a little bit interesting, but so hopefully I can add some value there. Also, hey, just want to throw it out there. We have a ton of people. I've probably had 3 or 4 people this past week that are looking for new telephony platforms. If you are in the market or looking, hit me up on LinkedIn. There's a lot of information I can give you on that so that you're kind of going to that with your eyes wide open. And also, make sure that you're joining the LinkedIn contact center, call center tips and tactics LinkedIn group that we have there too. All right. So today, I wanted to talk to you guys about putting in an action plan for your call center, right? Kind of looking at it holistically from the macro level and looking at different aspects and then putting a plan in to kind of change or evolve or improve those areas, right? So this is kind of something that I would do, when we go in to consult on a contact center, and we do it, in a much more robust way. But I think you can do this on your own as well, right? So you don't have to pay somebody to kind of come in and look at your contact center. If you take it by little pieces, it's much more manageable than if you're looking at your overall center that you think may be struggling, or the customer experience isn't right, or your staffing isn't right. And looking at it, overall, it can be overwhelming. So you got to really just break it down into pieces and then put little action plans into each of those pieces and then check that off and keep moving on to the next one, right? So here's, I think, 10 or 11 kind of things that I would do if I came into your call center, right? And we'd sit down and if I had some time, and these are some of the plans and some of the things that I would be looking at to fix or to improve your contact center. So hopefully you can kind of take some of these and put an action plan in for you and your team to kind of do it yourself. All right. So the first thing is, obviously it's to listen and benchmark, right? How many of you call center managers really are listening to calls every day, right? And a lot of times that kind of gets away from us because it can be monotonous, right? So we're leaving that to QA, we're leaving it to supervisors. But I would just tell you to take, even if it's 20 minutes, a half hour a day, and listen to some calls. Listen to some calls by some other reps. And if you're going to really do this, get your team together to listen and to start to benchmark things, right? So when we talk about benchmarking, we want to know, service level we can probably understand because you're looking at that every day. But what should be the talk time? What should be the hold time? What should be your average handle time, right? Benchmark all that against your really good reps to get your goal, right? And a lot of times we don't do that. We just say, our talk time's about 4 minutes, right? Well, let's get it down to the point where we're saying our talk time is 3 minutes and 48 seconds. That's what our goal is, right? So that we understand and our teams understand kind of what we're shooting for. And it's not to punish people who are, higher than that, but it's to kind of then say, hey, there's probably something going on that we need to fix if things are kind of outside of that norm, whether the calls are too long or too short. I'd also benchmark your QA, understand what the average score should be. If it's super low, then obviously you have either some problems with what's going on in the center that we need to fix, or sometimes the scorecards stink, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And you may need to do some type of rewrite on that. But I think the number one thing when I come in is to understand what the goals are for everything from service level to handle times to all the pieces after call work. Make sure that is kind of written down. And when we start to train this, that's a piece of what you do. So that's one of the big things I think that can help your center. Number two is to spot volume trends, right? Make sure that you understand your sales and your service cycle for the year. Right now, a lot of you, this is kind of second nature, right? Especially if, say, you're a retailer and in the holidays, and a lot of you could probably even say, starting on October 18th, we start to see volume, right? But a lot of people are just kind of flying off the seat of their pants and get caught into bad service levels or large calls in queue because there could have been anticipated volume that they just didn't. So you need to understand and look at where your trends are, and that needs to be benchmarked as well. You need to know where your volume is coming from and when that volume hits every single year. So you need to be kind of digging into your reports and looking at call volumes over the past 2-3 years. If you can't do that, then you got to get your technology upgraded, but you should be able to at least look at that by month or week by week, and even better yet, day by day, to understand, even if you don't have a robust WFM platform, right? To say, hey, we're probably going to need a couple more reps, third, fourth quarter because of, what's going on. So again, make sure that you know that ahead of time, at least 30 to 60 days ahead of time when you're seeing those types of things. And you should be able to tell your upper management ahead of time, what's about to happen so that you're not the one that kind of takes the brunt of it. Number three is we talk about culture a lot, right? In these kind of consulting meetings. So again, I can't say enough about how important culture is and for you guys to be able to define it as it correlates to your business overall, but your call center is different than the overall business. So make sure you understand what that culture is. Make sure you understand, what type of people. Again, you guys know I've said it 100 times, our culture is a sunshine attitude with an entrepreneurial mindset. That boils down to attitude and effort. So we are hiring, we are incentivizing, we're promoting off of our culture, not just because somebody's a great rep or did really good on a program. And we're also hiring, which is something that we're going to talk about later, hiring off of our culture. So you cannot hire a culture if you don't know what that is. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I can tell you when it comes to attrition is actually just having the right person for your organization and your type of program there. All right, number 4, how do you coach? I think this is another big piece of not only improvement, but also attrition. Right? Do you have supervisors or management or leads that are, very strict and want things done a certain way, and they maybe attack a little bit and they're a little bit too, coarse or rough, when they're coaching, and they, I don't want to say intentionally embarrass people, right? But they're calling people out in front of people. That's one of the number one reasons I see call center people leave. And it's that whole saying, you don't leave the organization, you leave the manager. And how we coach has a big piece of that. So again, making sure that we're kind of giving high fives and salutations and doing great jobs when they're on the floor or in a Slack channel that everybody sees, but we're coaching and kind of private, right? And making sure that we're not embarrassing anybody. All right. Number 5 is games and how much fun we're having. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. We've spent so much time on this and other things, but that's a huge another piece. Most of you guys aren't doing a lot with that, right? And you wonder why you have attrition. You think sometimes maybe it's beneath your reps, or if it's not your personality. And I think that, those are all kind of cop-outs for, the bottom line is people like to have fun at work. And if you do it right, and if it matches, the games match your culture and match the type of person, you're going to see improvements in attrition. Especially if you have some issues and you're just kind of, you have that boring, grind it out every day kind of contact center. And those don't work, especially with the type of individuals that we have now in the younger and millennials. You need to kind of, see what type of people you have and kind of make those adjustments. All right, next I really talk about QA, and is the scoring done properly? And again, we talk about culture, and I can't reiterate that enough. But what is the most important thing in your center? Is it the quality? Is it the sales piece? Is it engagement? Is it empathy? And you could say it's all of them, and that's fine, and we can score all those. But a lot of times, QA scorecards just take 1 or 2 of those things into really account for what people are doing, and they leave out other things, right? So if you're not scoring based on what the outputs that you're looking, you can have a lot of issues. So that's another thing that you need to probably look at. Look at how you're scoring. See if it needs updated. If it hasn't been updated in a year or 2, it probably does, because things have changed, especially with COVID. So make sure that your QA scoring is up to snuff and it's where it should be. The next one I is crazy to me, but I guess it makes sense, is a lot of you and a lot of your teams don't understand the telephony platform that you're using to the full extent, right? You use it for, the utilitarian task of what you need to do every day. But I guarantee you, whether you're using Nice in Contact or TalkDesk or Five9 or Genesys or Avaya or whatever you're using, there are so many different tools, so many different things that you can use that platform for that you're not using. So again, this is a great management engagement process where we can bring everybody in. Everybody kind of talks about some of the best ways that they like to use the platform. And every single time that we do that, there's always oh my gosh, that's a great idea, right? That it helps improve and make us more efficient. So again, I would make sure that you're doing some training, make sure that you're just not assuming that, the supervisors or that those team leads or whoever is your kind of frontline manager understands the whole process of what's going on. Because a lot of times even you as the call center manager don't. So that's something that you can definitely dig into and make your team better at that. Again, none of these things really cost money. These are just different, policies, procedures, ways to interact that I think can make a big, big difference. All right, next, for those of you who are just, hiring reps, and then you're picking and choosing the best reps to then become your team leads or your managers, make sure that you have a management trainee program. This is one of the number one things. Again, there's probably a lot of number one things I'm saying, but again, it's so important that you develop a plan, and whether that's a 3-week plan, a 6-month plan, it doesn't really matter. Just so that you have something on paper that you can take, train, understand, make your supervisor understand what is expected of them from a culture standpoint, from a policy standpoint, from a procedure standpoint. So everybody's on the same page and everybody feels like, they're doing and kind of rowing the boat in the same direction. Instead of just, promoting somebody, letting them do their own way. Everybody's doing different things on every single team, and it's going to cause you a bigger headache. That's another huge piece of what we see that kind of goes wrong in centers, especially centers that are expanding and growing, right? So maybe you didn't really need to because you had two supervisors or leads, but now you just, you're at 6 now and nothing really was in place. And that causes a lot of issues. So that's something that, whether you're going to do it this year or next year, take some time, take a month or two, put a plan together. Just rip a bunch of the podcast episodes, rip a bunch of the stuff that we have from my blog, from other blogs, right? That you can kind of use. The material's already there. You don't need to rethink it or reinvent it. Just pull it, rip it apart, utilize it for what you think will be best for your organization. The other thing that we always discuss and talk about at all of these, and something that you probably need to look at, is how do you onboard, right? How do you train initially, right? How do you do initial training for your associates? How do you get them involved in your culture? Are you doing at-home training right now? Are you doing, brick and mortar training? Are you just training the what screen to go to and what to click? Or are you training the tone and the message that you're trying to get across and empathy? There's a lot of different ways to do that. And again, it's like our call center. I mean, to be honest, if we get our associate to be here, for more than 90 days, they're probably going to be here for years. Right? So our job, as we've seen, is to try to do the best we can with our onboarding, with our training, making it fun, making it engaging, and giving them all the proper tools to make sure that we can get them to that 90-day period where they feel, really comfortable. So that's another attrition thing. Most of you, or a lot of you that have higher attrition, struggle with onboarding, or you're just doing it very quickly to get people, on the phones. And, you're going to pay for that in the long run. So it's kind of pay now or pay later kind of thing when it comes to onboarding, but that's kind of a big deal. All right, the last two that I have for you here too are, one is look at your policies and procedures, right? A lot of you and a lot of us, and I keep saying a lot of you, and I have the same issues. So again, I don't mean to make it sound like I'm up here on this, pedestal, because we have a lot of the same issues here too. But a lot of us, we realize that there's an issue, right, with a policy, a procedure, with something that reps are doing or supervisors are doing. When you see that happens, find a way to fix it and create a policy around it and put it in writing, right? Instead of just constantly having to fix the same thing over and over or come up with different solutions, because a lot of times you forget what the heck you did to fix things, right? So make sure that when you are, whether it is the way we interact with associates, what we need to do during our shift, if there's a supervisor checklist, all those things that can make things better, don't just do them, right? Go the next step and make it a policy. Create a policy book for your organization. Now that goes beyond just the HR handbook, right? But really how you operate in your contact center, keeping it down in writing, everybody understands it, and then that evolves and becomes part of your management training program as well, right? So everybody again is on the same plan. So. And again, the last one too is just kind of looking at your HR policies and procedures as well. That kind of, I guess, ham and eggs with that. Making sure that, you're not too strict, but you're still, upholding things that matter to your culture. We've had to really look at our policies and procedures and kind of relax them a little bit, to be honest. We were probably too strict when it came to kind of how we used to operate, with my mentality of being probably a little bit more old school of, coming up in the early 2000s, maybe late 1990s. And again, as you guys, a lot of I came from a financial services call center background. So it was very strict when it came to data security and no cell phones. And, everybody had a dress code and, those types of things. But I think with COVID and a lot of these things that have just really come up in the last, couple of years with millennials, with the way that people are interacting with work from home, we've really had to take a look at how we operate and how we want our reps to operate and feel comfortable, right? And want to come to work. So I think that's another thing to kind of really look at and kind of write down and take a look at your policies and procedures and kind of put them in place. So I don't know. I think that's about 11 different things that you can look at to kind of do your own consult on your contact center. Even if you take every single quarter and you're looking at one or two of these to really try to improve by the end of the year, right? You're going to be in a way better place from the contact center operations standpoint. So again, take bits and pieces. Don't look at, oh my gosh, my center's screwed up. Just look at little pieces of what you have to fix. Take some time, get a team effort in there, bring your supervisors in, talk to them about it, get them on board, and constantly be enhancing and improving your contact center. So again, I hope that helps, guys. And I'll talk to all of you next week. Again, please look at we have our Facebook community for Advice from a Call Center Geek. We have our LinkedIn call center tips and tactics that I'd love to see you guys join. There also is the SMS texting group that if you have any questions or want to talk to me directly, it is 814-247-0366. Just text call center and it'll get you signed up for that. And there'll be an actual interaction that we can have if you have any questions. And again, follow me on LinkedIn or hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm here to help in any possible way, including any call center software or tips and tactics or operational things that you may want to ask me. No charge at all for any of that. Just trying to help and add some value. Thanks, guys. And again, I'll talk to you guys next week.